Hi, everyone. Amie and Eileen here again. And we're talking about something a little different today. We're talking about a very personal experience because I am post-menopausal. I'm an old woman, and Amie is perimenopausal. And, we're just want to get on here and talk about being empowered and all of that. Because what I see everywhere is so many women who have no clue about what's really going on. They have none of the medical medium information, and they're so disempowered. Just woman after woman after woman thinking this is how they have to feel and hating them, this being menopausal and hating being perimenopausal and having no tools with it. And I feel so bad for them. And I feel so grateful to have understood the process, what's really causing the problems, and so many tools around it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is really about kind of like hope for healing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because as a woman, it feels like there's not a lot of options out there. You can go HRT, you can go, I don't know, do something else like some sort of specific. If you're following someone, you can go and do what they're doing or something like that. But there's no real hope and scope for healing. It's just kind of like, well, suck it up. Let's try and minimize the symptoms. But say your big flashy statement, Eileen. Do
Which
it.
fallacy statement is
The
that?
one that goes, I went through the menopause with zero
Oh, I
symptoms.
went through menopause with zero symptoms.
Yeah, it's a big
Zero.
statement.
It is a
It's
big
it's
statement. I
it
actually
is.
did a post about that, and Anthony reposted it, and I got a whole bunch of people DMing me. How did you do that? And they were people who don't really understand medical medium information. But I'd already been eating and cleansing my body, and things that did shift, I knew that it actually was, you know, um, one of the viruses being sparked or a flare or something like that. Women aren't supposed to suffer so much through perimenopause and menopause. That's not what's meant to be. And I actually have a funny story. Um, Always, right?
Yeah, naturally.
Y'all, if you've listened to us, you've heard me talk about my dad, who was a pretty great guy. But at some point, my mother and I, my whole family decided we were sainting him because my mother was older when she had me. So I was 15 and going, through that stage of becoming a woman, and my mother was in menopause. So at the same time, so we were difficult women to live with, and
Yeah.
we were clashing. And my dad was just this saint through the whole process. But I think back, actually, if we'd had these tools, how much easier that whole thing would have been just to even have the knowledge of what's really going on.
Yeah, and I just want to say also, like, so I'm perimenopausal, and I notice that in my body.
Hmm.
There are shifts, there are changes. It's not like, so Eileen said I was symptom free. I notice changes and I notice things in my body. I notice symptoms, um, but I know how to handle them. And I've been on this journey a good decade myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know what's behind it. I know that viruses are being kicked up because of hormonal change. It's just like what you were saying, but it's just puberty, going through puberty. That's a pretty rough time for a child to go through that because
Yeah,
there's just so many hormonal surges, and you've got your immune system can be weakened, and you've got a lot
right.
of viral exposures. Plus, you've also got you got a lot of pressure on you at that time in your life, and it's also the case with a woman often perimenopause or menopausal because your children are perhaps older, excuse my phone, a bit perhaps older, and needing you more emotionally and in different ways. Life is never kind of just the smooth plain sailing thing, certainly not these days. So there's factors, but the point is the hope for healing, isn't it? Is that there is
Mhm.
scope, that there is a way of managing and then minimizing symptoms and healing. And I really look forward to the day when it is menopause and then it's all done and then we move forwards and then
Well,
that doesn't.
it definitely there's not the hormonal shift every month, and so in some ways your immune system can stay stronger, which is actually a positive for sure.
Yeah, Yeah, and it's a new chapter in a woman's life in much the same way. I kind of keep thinking back to puberty, and when that phase is done, it's like you've arrived somewhere and your life is different. And then you have this kind of fertile time in your life, don't you? But then when that chapter is done, it's there is always this sort of sense of reinvention as well that comes with these
Well,
really,
that's the piece that I think, of course, I focus on and I notice the most is reinvention. That's an interesting way to put it, or going into your more sage stage of womanhood.
yeah,
There was, I think, a lot of the like what women are complaining about fatigue and body aches and pain and hot flashes, and I didn't have any of that. So what I was focusing on, I could really focus on, I should say, the more soulful aspects of it. When I wasn't wanting more children or planning to have more children, but that day I knew that that possibility had been taken away from me. There was a grieving process in that. There was an acceptance process in that. And I remember wanting to do something like have a ceremony, or I don't know, go out with a bunch of friends. And I didn't, Amy and I talk about these parts of life a lot. Like traditionally, when a person goes through puberty, they're kind of like in a tribal world. They were sent out into the wild to see if they could survive or do smaller things or, bar mitzvah and bat mitzvahs and sweet 16s. Like we celebrate this moment.
yeah.
But we don't have any really ways to celebrate what when a woman goes through this change later in life. And I wanted to, there was a mourning process, but I wanted to celebrate it too. And it wasn't there.
Well, I think I wonder. I'm hypothesizing. Do you think that's because it comes with illness these days? Typically, it comes with illness,
Exactly.
and
That's
whenever there's
exactly.
illness, we button up. We don't talk
That's
about it. We look the other way, and we ghost it. So a reclamation of of one of your own healing, but of this rite of passage that you've been through, is a pretty powerful thing. And that
and it
now there is
does come
conversation.
with like a different filter of the world, a different focus in your life, which are all incredible things to grab onto and uh like explore. It's a really cool thing. And I think that's exactly the tragedy of it is because so many people, forgive me if this is your tool, but so many women are going deeper into the habits of coffee and wine and medications that they're missing out on this incredible soulful journey that's happening at that time in their lives.
Yeah, there's lots of numbing. God, I mean, you've listed a handful, but there's just a ton of ways to just numb, rather than sit with and listen and open up to and ask a little bit about what might be at hand for you, what the opportunity is. So I do, and I feel that as a woman who shifted into perimenopause, the energy in me and around me feels very different. And what
Yes.
I want to do now, you'll go, yes, I know, I've been
Yes.
watching it.
No, I haven't watching you, but I've been through it. I feel it. It's just different.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it feels creative in a very different way. And so
Hmm.
it's I really like this stage that I'm in.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm not just
Instead
seeing
of
it as a,
dreading it and
yeah.
complaining and all of that, yeah, it's like something to kind of embrace.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So there's a little food for thought today is to think about, there's that stage of life and the wisdom that comes with it and how each stage of life is just so valuable, but we don't want to lose it to illness and we don't have to. There's such hope for
And even if
healing.
you're having symptoms, um, embrace the soulful aspect of it. Don't let it get buried under those symptoms.
Yes, and it's not about perfect, is it?
Mm-mm.
No, we don't all have to have a statement like Eileen's, like, I had no symptoms. I'm glad that she didn't, but it's going to look different for each of us.
Hmm.
But that's the cool part of it.
Right. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, all you premenopausal and menopausal and postmenopausal women out there, and even you prepubescent and puberty
Yes,
and whatever,
you
young adult
menopausal
years.
curious people.
Yeah. I'm also curious. Remember that there are really beautiful soulful shifts happening, and there are definitely ways to embrace them and be empowered in it. And remember how powerful your soul is, and don't give that power away to anybody today.